Hi guys, just got my hair braided. Got the knotless box braids. Check out the description box below for the hairstylist. If you're ever in the Houston area, check her out. But I wanted to talk today about, are certain cultural hairstyles professional? I was reading a blackbusiness.com article about a young black lawyer who refused to cut his locks to make his colleagues feel better. So it begs the question, are there certain things that are professional or not? Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's do a poll before I even start. Comment below, let me know, do you think braids are appropriate for a professional setting? Braids, locks, twists, cornrows, any kind of form of those cultural black hairstyles, do you think those are considered appropriate for the professional setting? I know that personally, or even afros, I know professionally, personally, I have in the past straightened my hair before interview and then show up on the first day of work with a different kind of hairstyle because I thought perhaps the straightened hairstyle was more professional. There's certain things that I guess people are all guilty of doing in an effort to seem more professional. The professional guidelines are set by the controlling powers. And who's to say what is professional and what isn't? It is actually not just in the professional realm. It's actually prevalent in like the school systems. Some of these schools have like a code of conduct, a dress code, and some of them say the children can't wear cornrows in their hair. I know when my daughter was involved in ballet, they required her to have her hair in a bun. And they specifically said in one of the notices that no braided buns. And I was just like alarmed at the blatant, who was this aimed at when they said no braided buns? And having your hairstyle in a way that perhaps some people's hair may not be long enough to fit in a bun, and braiding it into a bun might be the only way to do it. It doesn't, I feel like it was culturally insensitive for them to do that. But that's my opinion. I want to know what you guys think about it, because it doesn't just, like I said, apply to the professional realm. Some of the children that are growing up in the school systems are facing some kind of discrimination, I would say, or maybe implicit bias about what hairstyles are appropriate for the school setting. And then when they get older, they're hitting it in the professional setting as well. As a lawyer, I know there are definitely certain standards that people feel that lawyers should meet, and how they look is one of them. And I guess it depends on what field you work in. If you work in big law, there might be a different kind of culture than working in the government, or if you're a solo practitioner or work at a smaller firm. But I know personally, I haven't felt any, I guess, pressures to have my hair a certain way at my current position, and I work in the government. But I have heard stories from people who work in big law who feel like, oh, they can't feel like they represent who they really are. And I was reading another article about, it was one of these Real Housewives of Atlanta former stars who wore her hair, and she had permanent locks, and then she had a kind of style that was sticking straight up. And some people were questioning her style. And she actually mentioned that this was a style that was particular to a certain African tribe, and that some people have such a westernized thought about what looks appropriate, what looks pretty, what is beautiful, that they can't even embrace that she was wearing a style that is, particular to African tribes. And it does beg the question about, where do we get our, I guess, ideals and standards of what is professional, what is beautiful, and to have like self-love. Your hair grows in a certain way, and to love it and to not feel like you have to change it to make anybody feel comfortable. And so it kind of hit home when she mentioned that. And then when I was getting my braids and thought about people that said, I can't wear braids because my job won't allow it, or I have to wear my hair a certain way because that's how the culture is at my job. And I kind of wanted to know, what do you guys, what's the culture like at your job? It doesn't have to be necessarily an attorney job, but at your job, do you feel comfortable wearing your own styles? And I'm not saying, okay, going from a ponytail to something else. I'm talking about certain styles that are particular to certain cultures. Do you feel comfortable wearing that in your professional environment? Or do you feel that there's kind of a stigma attached to it and you'll be deemed not professional? Even wearing things like hoop earrings, those are certain cultures that is associated with. I know sometimes I might wear pearl earrings because they're considered a little bit more, I guess, reserved or something of that nature. So there are certain subtleties that go along with what's considered professional and what's not. And oftentimes the standard for professionalism doesn't line up with some of the cultures and what they believe should be an appropriate thing. Personally, I appreciate that in the recent years, there's been kind of a shift in what Black women feel like they feel comfortable wearing their hair. A lot of women have moved from having their hair relaxed to wearing it natural. And it might be a trend for some. Some of them may feel like, okay, I don't have to do it. They have a choice whether they want to do it. But I feel like they were pressured, I guess, before to have their hair relaxed. And now if they want to have it relaxed, they can. If they don't have to. Personally, I know doing my hair when it's natural has been a little bit more of a challenge than when I had it permed. But I have the choice whether I want to do one or the other. And I feel there might be some stigma and some I guess, perm shaming for those women who still feel like they want to perm their hair. And I feel like it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. That's your choice. But I know there's been a movement for natural hair care versus perming your hair. And that actually goes back to being proud of your hair and how it grows out of your scalp and not trying to make it relaxed for anyone else. It's not what they say. It's not stressed. It doesn't need to be relaxed. So I kind of feel proud that people feel empowered to do it if they choose so. And I also, if they don't choose so to do, that's fine as well. But I know there's been a shift. And so perhaps that shift has been, I guess, see changes in the professional environment as well. What I would like to see is some changes, some systemic changes about how the people in power view what's professional or not. Last thing, I had a professor in law school who basically said she worked for somebody who would show up at business meetings and wear all kind of clothes, like was pretty dressed down. And she basically says she wants to get to the status about where basically it doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what your hairstyle looks like. People are going to want to do business with you. Business, multi-million-dollar deals are being made, and it doesn't even matter how you look. So at the end of the day, professional or not, like he was getting deals done and they didn't really care how he looked. Whether that because he was a man versus a woman, I don't know. But I think once you get to a certain level, your money talks for you and your looks kind of take a backseat to all that.